Hi y'all, I'm Chase. This is my 2013 Dyna Fat Bob with a 103, affectionately known as Mary Jane. And I think today we're going to do a little review on the Memphis Shades Road Warrior fairing for the Dyna Fat Bob. Let's see. It is probably, I don't know of many fairings for the Dyna Fat Bob. I think Memphis Shades makes the only two. They make a fat, for the Fat Bob at least. I don't know of anyone else that's making one. They have the Road Warrior fairing and the Batwing fairing. The Batwing fairing was just too much. I would have had to change where my blinkers were. I didn't want to do that. Plus, it's heavier, it adds more weight. And I just didn't like the way it looked. The reason why I picked the Road Warriors because it's about the middle of the pack. It's best of all the, you know, it's not too big, it's not too small. It's better than a windshield. It looks better, at least. I get a lot more compliments on my bike with the Road Warrior fairing. It comes pretty much ready to mount. I mean, you can get it painted if you want, but my bike's already black, and it's the orange Sunglow metallic flake, I think that's what it is. Orange Sunglow orange, I don't remember what it's called, but kind of looks reddish. It's a darker reddish orange, and there's plenty of black on the bike that matches up with the fairing, so it goes with my bags and the black accents on the bike. As far as blocking wind, I had a windshield. It was a Harley-Davidson windshield. It did not block the wind in a proper manner, let's call it. It did fine taking the wind off my chest, but it pretty much threw it right onto the top of my helmet. And man, it was just like somebody was slapping me in the top of my helmet at high speeds, just like non-stop. It was terrible. So I measured before I bought this, and the block they sent me wasn't the correct block. It was supposed to have a couple of spacers in it because it has the double lights on the front, which also makes the fairing a little bit wider than the regular Dyna fairings that come on the single headlight models. So it's a little bit wider, and it gives a little bit more protection than, say, a regular Road Warrior fairing would, which I actually kind of like the way it looks. I've had it on there for about 2,000 miles now. I think it's great. I mean, the first time I took it for a ride, it made such a difference. It was insane. Now I'm not getting slapped in the top of my head, you know, going on the freeway. And it blocks enough wind off my chest and everything. The only thing I kind of didn't like, the windshield, I didn't use tools to put it on. I used my bare hands. Now, maybe I'm a little bit stronger. I mean, I worked on cars a lot, and I have pretty good hand strength. Maybe it's just me, but I tightened them down, and the little plastic screws and nuts. I did it all barehanded. Somehow, I don't know if it's because the windshield's a little bit thinner, I don't know, but it did crack in a couple of spots, so I will probably have to replace the windshield. Even though I didn't use tools, I used my bare hands, my fingers only, to tighten down the little plastic nuts and bolts. So that's my only gripe. To clean it, I've been using Turtle Wax's 3-in-1 nano ceramic cleaner. It seems to, and what is that? A microfiber towel, and that seems to keep it from getting scratched, and it gets the bugs off pretty easy. But overall, I think for the Fat Bob, it's probably the best option that you have without changing out the headlight to a single headlight setup over the dual headlight setup. Oh, and I did not like where the headlight, the headlight, I don't even know what you call it, extension block, I think it's called. It actually sat lower than the original headlight, which sucked. The original headlight sat up higher, and the headlight extension block made the light sit lower. So I would have had to lower the fairing where it sat on the forks. I did not like that. So I ended up finding a nut. It looked like it's not painted, I think it's nitrocarburized or something like that. And a lock washer that I put on top of it to raise it up, I think maybe 3/4 of an inch, maybe an inch over where it would have sat if I'd have just used the extension block, and it made a huge difference. Now it sits up higher. I think it actually looks even better than most people's. It sits up a little bit higher. I have the 13-inch windshield, and that works great. I'm about 6 foot, maybe a little bit over. So 6'1", somewhere around there. So it works perfect for me with that little bit of, I don't know, raising it up a little bit. My clamps are literally touching the top of almost at the top of the forks. Literally probably touching the triple trees at the top. So it's up about as high as you can get one. I think it looks great the way it looks. The other thing is it makes the bike a lot easier to clean. I didn't even think that would be a possibility, but it pretty much keeps all the book splatters literally on the front of it, instead of having to find every little nook and cranny around the triple trees and on the forks and the neck. It keeps all the bug splatters from there. So that is another plus that I wasn't expecting, is having to go in there and clean around all that stuff every single time I clean the bike. And I'm one of those guys, I keep my bike pretty clean. I usually clean it after every time I go out before I leave on another trip, unless I'm on an extended trip, like I'm spending a couple of days at a friend or family's house. So I like to keep it pretty clean. But yeah, I was really surprised at how how easy it made keeping the top front of the forks clean, and that was where all the crevices and stuff are. So that makes it a lot easier to clean. But I've had it on there. It's been about 2,000 miles now. I think it's well worth it. I wish it was cheaper, but $479, $480 for everything total, that's not bad. Oh, and when I got that extension block and it was missing the 2 barrel spacers for the headlight assembly, I called Memphis Shades up and they sent me another one right out. I still have the original extension block that they sent me that didn't have the barrel spacers. They didn't make me send it back or anything. So I still have that in case this one, I don't know, takes a dump. Maybe I'll put it on eBay. It'll work with a regular headlight on, say, like a just about any other Dyna with a single headlight, I think. But I didn't, like I said, I didn't like it. I think in another video, I showed where I didn't like where the headlights ended up. If maybe I'll make a little bit of a video when I get home, just to show what I'm talking about. How the height of where the headlights end up was different when you use this headlight, a block extension. It was at least a ½ inch lower, but I think I ended up about an inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch higher than where my original headlight assembly was. So I kind of like that, but I wanted it to be a little bit higher. I think it looks better, but I mean, looks are subjective. Some people don't like the fat bobs at all, either model, the Dyna or the Softail version. So I like them because they don't look like every other single Harley. You know, every other single Harley has the single headlight, unless you go to the Road Glide that has the dual headlights up front. That has a humongous heavy fairing on it again. So, but I honestly, I like the way it looks. So far, for 2,000 miles, it's held up pretty good, except for the windshield. And like I said, maybe it's because I worked on cars so much, and I've used my fingers for small tightening nuts, and I have a lot of hand strength. Maybe that's why they cracked, I don't know. But I didn't use any tools on it, no. Not a screwdriver or anything else, just my fingers. So I'm guessing it might have been just a defect. I don't remember seeing anybody else having this problem, so maybe it's just me. Maybe I just have stronger hands than most people, I don't know. I think we'll do some twisties. I gotta pick up dinner for my parents. Oh, this is my favorite road too. At least one of my favorites. But even at like medium speeds, it's not blocking all the wind, and I think that's something else that would be a bad thing. I don't want to block all the wind, like, you know, the wind that goes up my arms and stuff like that. Maybe it's cool having during the winter time, it might be cool to have those the hand guards on there, but during the summertime, it's not something you want. It's a little too hot, and I want the air to go up my sleeves. And with a batwing fairing, I think it might take a little too much wind off me. And we get it to where we get 90, 100 degree days around here. I'm in southeastern Ohio, so right on the border of West Virginia, and we get some pretty damned hot days around here. This little back road blasting. Except for that problem with my windshield, which, I mean, like I said, it could be my fault. Maybe my hands are just too damn strong. That's a possibility. Like I said, I've got pretty strong hands and a pretty strong grip, even with my fingers. So maybe that was my fault, or it could just be a defect, and maybe I just got a defective one. Who knows? I don't know what else I can really say about it. It seems to be pretty well made. And oh, installation. Okay, here's the thing that I don't like. There's only one other thing I can think of that I didn't like. I've installed it, and then I take the clamps off, get it to where I want. After putting it back on, I have to readjust all the clamps, because it will not go back on unless I readjust the clamps again. It just does not like to be taken off and put back on. I don't know if it's just mine or what, but it just does not want to be off and on very often. I've taken it off twice, and then every single time I've taken it off, I've had to readjust the clamps, which it's not a hard thing to do, but it's just a pain in the ass. It's that one little problem thing. It's mostly just a pain in the ass. It's not impossible or anything, so. Oh, okay, I was gonna say. I don't know where they're turning. But that was the only other problem I've had with it. Having to readjust the clamps every time I've taken it off. So once you put it on, you should probably just leave it on unless you want to readjust the clamps. Or again, maybe that's just a little weird, funky problem that I have with mine. Who knows? But there is a lot of room, and you can kind of adjust it. Right now I have mine adjusted where it's as far forward as I can get it, because you can adjust the angle, the lean angle of it. Far forward with a 13-inch. That literally is the perfect. It keeps the wind off the top of my helmet. It literally throws the wind directly over top of me perfectly. So maybe for you it might be different. If I was shorter, I could probably lower it some, but I actually like the way it looks sitting almost, you know, as straight up as possible with as little lean back to forward as possible. I like that. Here's that dangerous turn with the gravel. Yeah, don't overshoot on this. A lot of guys on sport bikes end up wrecking there, so. But I think as a company, they were really fast. They got the part out fast to me because they know. I mean, this was in spring, you know, March, and I had to wait a month when I ordered it, so because they were out of stock. Nobody had it in stock. I mean, nobody except Memphis Shades was the only place I could order it from. Everybody was sold out. So I had to wait all the way till April. I got it in April, and then in less than a week, I had already had the new headlight extension because, well, the other one didn't have the parts in it that I needed. So they worked with me, and they were pretty fast about getting me out the correct part that I needed, which was really nice. Overall, great company. I might call them about the windshield, but who knows? Like I said, I can't tell if that's my fault. Maybe they'll send me an email after I put the video out. Right now, it's not falling apart yet. It's just cracked. And I hate seeing it cracked because it kind of, well, you know, I just hate looking at it. Just one little, maybe I'm just a little too anal or something, but yeah, highly recommend it. If you have a Fat Bob, I would definitely recommend this. I think there's another guy that has the Batwing. I just didn't like the way it looked, and it blocks too much wind. This blocks the perfect amount of wind. I went out riding when it's, oh god, it was about 55 degrees one morning, I think, and I didn't get cold. And I mean, I'm wearing the same mechanics gloves that I always wear. I wasn't freezing my butt off. I don't have heated grips or anything like that. No heated seat. It's a regular old Settlement step up. So, but I think that's it. Like I said, maybe I'll get a picture of that block compared to the original headlight block, and I'll include it at the end of this video, or after right here at this part.
This is the extension block, upside down. As you can see though, that's the proper number. It's the right one for the fat bob, but if you look, it literally is not tall enough. It doesn't match up with the height, so I had to find a nut so I could actually jack it up to where it was as high as this part sat. It's great you can move it forward, but you end up lower, and it didn't look very good on the bike. So that's the part I was talking about. It should have come with 2 barrel spacers, but it didn't. But Memphis Shades did get me the right one out, and they didn't have me return this, so now I have it as an extra. I'm pretty sure this would work with a single headlight, but like I said, down here I put a nut and a lock washer, and that raised it up to about the proper height, and I was able to extend the headlight outwards towards the front of the Road Warrior fairing. So that's all I was talking about.
For now, I think that's all. This is going to be the end of the video. Bye, y'all. Like, comment, subscribe. Flick that ding-a-ling if you want to be notified of any of my new videos that I put out. And like I said, see you later, y'all.